network marketing scheme, or MLM. And I think because the way that you build your community is by bringing two that bring two that bring two, a lot of the time it's got that network marketing feel to it. But we wanted to create something new, something that the world has never seen. And in network marketing, traditionally, you would follow your lineage. So the person at the top would bring in all their people, and then it would literally be like a snake that goes around, and everybody that's coming underneath that head of the snake will follow them. And who's that good for? That's good for people that have got big networks and are great at networking. But we don't want to just look after those people. We want to look after everybody. We want to look after somebody that has trouble speaking to people about things, somebody that's not a natural networker. We want to look after everybody because we want to change the lives of millions. So cross-pollination was always spoken about, that when you come in as a gifter and you bring in your community and you're building underneath you, because all of us must always remember that our success is not determined by the people that we join. The only person that you're helping when you join them is them, the people above you. So it's really important to make sure that the people that you bring in are the right people, because they are going to make or break your success. And it's all about the people that we bring in underneath us. So on the bronze board, that's what it's all about. It's about inviting your people, assisting them to invite theirs. And Tim made a comment this morning on a couple of the groups and said, so many questions that we get asked on the groups or in support are available in our academy. Everything that you need to know is there. And I think when you get people to join, get them to go to the academy and learn as much as possible. Because if you know to go to the academy to look for answers, you'll be teaching them to do the same. And then their people that they bring in will be teaching their people to do the same. And it's all about duplication in a beautiful way that it can be so self-sustainable and supportive. So cross-pollination is, we originally discussed that when you get to legend and you complete your bronze board, you will go into the global cross-pollination, which means that you will go to the oldest board that's been waiting the longest, and you will land on that board. And then provided that you're a gifter or a builder, everybody that you've brought in with you will then follow you to that oldest board. So that is cross-pollination. However, it wasn't working fast enough or well enough. So again, with all of the scammers that I explained earlier with dominating the boards when inviting from guide or legend, we've now changed it so that when you are a legend or a guide, remember, everything is supposed to happen when you're a builder. That's why it's called a builder. So when you're a guide or a legend, one would presume that you've already got your two people. And if you don't, you can still invite people. They'll still count towards your invite count, but they will now contribute to cross-pollination. So they will go to the oldest board. And when they complete that first board, they will always come back to you and follow you, provided you're in a guide and a builder, a builder or a gifter position. Now, Shireen actually put a testimony out the other day because she wanted to test it. So I think what she did was she got a whole group of her team together and she said, let's do this properly. So she went in first, her two came underneath her, their two came underneath her two, their four came underneath those two, their 8 came underneath those 4. And exactly what happened was that when she completed the board, she communicated with everybody that she wanted to follow her, and she told them to either wait when she was in a legend position, and then told them when to actually join the board so that they could all follow each other. So you can still follow one another. It just involves a lot more communication. But what have we got? We've got community and we've got communication. A community can only grow and be successful if we communicate with one another. So that is cross-pollination, and it is there the people that maybe are having a tough time, that are not able to bring in their two at that point in time. And it will support all of us at one stage or another. But the one thing I must mention is whenever we spoke about the algorithm, we always spoke about it as a fail safe, which means in the precursor program, what happened was when people joined and they abandoned their positions, we just got stuck with them. We either had to take them over ourselves, or we had to try to find people that would take over the positions so that they could support them by bringing more people in. But it was a dead end, you know, and it's another reason why it stopped. So here we've got the algorithm that has the cross-pollination so that if ever a board does get stuck, it's not going to be stuck forever. Eventually, and I mean, if you look at the amount of boards that are on the bronze boards, there's over 40,000 bronze boards. You know, the algorithm will eventually go to every single one of those 40,000 boards that could be standing still. But, you know, it's going to take a long time. And I've always said that gift of legacy is a tool. It's like having a tree, getting that chainsaw to cut down the tree, and then not using the chainsaw and looking at the tree and wondering why the tree's still there and it's not been cut down. So gift of legacy is a tool that can help you out of a financial situation or add to your life, but it's not going to save you. It can save you if you put in the work and you bring two that bring two that bring two, and you really dedicated to training your people, to getting them to come to Zoom calls, to going through the academy. So your success can be really, really good, or you can just wait it out. You know, it's like a pension fund. We only get our pensions when we're 65. So, hey, if I have to wait until I'm 65 and not bring anyone in, I'll get my reward eventually, but we don't have to. This is such an amazing system. And all that we require is 2 people that get supported by 4 people, that get supported by 8 people, that get supported by 16 people. You know, and I've heard so many people saying, oh, I've brought in 7 people. Okay, cool. That's amazing. Fantastic. 7 people. Imagine how many people through that 7 people if they brought their 2. But then I go in and I look at the boards, or I look down the tree, the lineage tree, and I see, oh, but these 7 people all have very similar email addresses to the person that brought them in. Now, what does that mean? Did they bring their family and their dogs and cats in? And now they're saying that they brought 7 people and things aren't moving. But the 7 people need to each bring 2 people. So if you're putting 7 names in, you better make damn sure you've got 14 people to support that and 28 after that. So even with this lady today that I was talking to, you know, I said to her that this is not for everybody. And when I explain it to you, it's going to sound network marketing because it's how we've been trained to believe. The minute anybody says you need to find people, it's like, whoa, this wall comes up. And we're like, oh, no, this is one of those things. I don't want to be one of those people. But if you share it with your heart and you share it in a way that you make people believe it's going to change their lives in the way that it has changed so many lives. I mean, sure, I've forgotten the figure now, but nearly 50,000 legends in 5 months. That's pretty amazing. And it's not just us pulling actors out of a hat. It's real people. And if you just check that testimony group, boy, oh boy, will you see that it has changed the lives of many. So I'm going to pull up my board. Goodness, I just have to find it. I've got so many things open here. Give me 1 second. Oh, there we go. Okay, let's find it now. Okay, can you guys see that? Let me just. Okay, so this is what a board looks like. You've got your legend in the middle, you've got guide 1 on the left side, you've got guide 2 on the right hand side, you've got builders 1 and 2 on the left hand side, builders 3 and 4 on the right hand side, and then you've got your gifters 1 to 4 on the left hemisphere and your gifters 5 to 8 on the right hemisphere. So when you are inviting as a gifter, let's just say you're gifter number 1, and now you've taken the strategy of, because this works really, really well. You're a gifter, you've already got your person, you put your person in, they'll automatically land as close to you as possible, which means they'll land in position number 2. What you can do then is tell gifter number 2 that they bring in their gifter, and that will land next to them. And gifter number 3 will bring their gifter, and it will land next to them. And it will go all the way to gifter number 8. Now, the cool thing about that is if you're inviting as a gifter, when you get to builder, you're only responsible for inviting one more person. So it makes it a little bit easier. But everybody that comes in obviously needs to agree to that. In a perfect world, if you're a builder and you're builder number 1 and you are inviting, your gifters will automatically land on position number 1 and 2. If you are builder number 4 and you're inviting, your gifters will come to position number 7 and 8. Even if there are empty slots from 1 to 4, if you are builder number 4, your invitees will come as close to you as possible, which means that they will be in position number 7 and 8. The same with builder 3, their invitees will come in at 5 and 6, and builder number 2's invitees will come in at 3 and 4. So that's explained in the top. If you are inviting from a guide or a legend position, you will then be contributing to cross-pollination. But the good thing is, you can see these little heart circles here. That means that this builder actually has one invitee already. And this one that has no color means that this builder's got no one. And this one that's got the full circle means that they've already got their 2. So if these guides had to invite, their invitees would contribute to cross-pollination. They'd go to the oldest board. Their people would follow them. But the circle would change and it would count for you with your invites. So if you don't have 2 invitees by the time you get to legend, you can collect all 8 gifts, but then you will be sidelined until you've brought your new invitees. So I'm just going to read from the left. Rule number 1, when inviting from gifter or builder position, your invitees will always land as close as possible to the inviter, provided there is space on the board. Rule number 2, when the direct position next to the gifter or builder is full, it will look for the next available slot on the entire board and place the invitee there. So let's say, for example, builder number 1 has now brought in gifter number 1 and 2, but gifter 2's already got their people and they want to bring them in, then the next available slot would be gifter number 3. If, for example, all of these are full and builder number 2 wanted to bring in somebody, then they would automatically go into the next available slot, which would be gifter number 5. So rule number 3, when inviting from a guide or a legend position, your invitees will contribute to our global community by cross-pollinating the oldest board, which will assist the algorithm in stimulating movement. The invitees can still follow their inviter on their next board, provided the inviter is a gifter or builder on their perpetual or higher boards. Rule number 4, when an entire board is full with no available gifter positions, so that means gifters 1 to 8 are taken up. And the reason why it's full is because it does take a little bit of time for the gifter to get hold of the legend, organize what payment gateway they'd like to use, and do the transaction. So that is the only time a board would be full. And in that case, then the invitees will join the oldest board again to stimulate movement and support the algorithm. And then rule number 5, like I've said before, the gift of legacy algorithm is a fail-safe system that is in place to serve as a backup for when members fail to grow their lineages. This is and never has been a system designed to be relied on for the generation of movement on participants' boards. So really, really important to remember that in order to move, you bring 2 that bring 2. And just something else that I want to address, because so many people maybe don't understand how the movement works. But if you bring 2 and you sit back and you say, okay, well, I've got my 2, nothing's happening, you've got to look at that, because if this builder brings in 2 and this builder brings in 2 and builder number 4 brings in 2 and builder number 3 brings in 2, when they move, they will be in the builder positions. And then the next people that they bring in will be a result of moving them into guide positions. And then the next people that get brought in will be the result of moving into a legend position. So if you're just bringing 2 and sitting back, how are you going to expect to move? And I must say, the first 2 is a little bit of a challenge, but once you've got those first 2, you get into a much more relaxed state of mind because the pressure's off. And then you are able to share this with so many more people. But that is not the time where you sit back. That is the time where you get involved with the people that you brought in and you say, how can I assist you? Are you coming to Zoom calls? Have you watched this beautiful training? I mean, in the last month, we've done such incredible training, and I'm going to just share all of those links tomorrow sometime, because if you haven't watched any of the training that we've done in the last month, it's really vital that you do so. There is so much important information that we've shared in the last month about the way to use Gift of Legacy to your advantage. So it takes 2 from everybody in order to stimulate movement. It's not a case of, okay, I've got my 2 and now I can sit back. It's really, we grow in communities. It's something that's never been done before. All right.